I have this amazing TV behind us, this built into this wall here as I bump my mic. And we spent all this time preparing for you all a video. And by that means I asked God, hey, and he said, I have this video. I said, please. So with that, I wanna talk about you and your background and getting involved in this industry. And look at this. I know that logo right there.
That's right.
So tell us what how you kind of got started and what a lot of this is, because I want to talk about it, because I love this
Actually,
early.
that cat,
this cat and this. What is this?
That cat, I made actually, that was one of my famous things. I got started in the business when I was about 14. And I got my first VHS camera.
Is that you, 14?
No, that's me as a baby.
Okay, I was wondering.
But actually, that cat right at the beginning, was supposed to match the MGM cat, right? But I did the first short film I did was about a cat that was my outside cat, because I'm actually allergic to cats. But I took care of a cat named Louie, who happened to be a female cat.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Unfortunately, fortunately, I gave that cat some milk one time, and when you give a cat milk, they're yours.
Oh, I was going to say, it's lactose intolerant.
No,
Okay.
they become yours. So, and this is just some fun video I did. I went to the University of Miami, and I recently did a talk there about documentaries, and this was kind of like a little spoof mockumentary I made about my life, but it's all in good fun.
It's very, it's funny how I think a lot of us get started, and now you look at today's world, like back in the day, this was not easy to put together.
No. When yeah. If they understand linear editing, and then you mess up. So, I mean, and maybe I'll explain it now. In today's day and age, a lot of kids out there are now, doing nonlinear editing, whether iMovie, Final Cut, or Premiere, whatever it is. And, you can move things around. And actually, that's the old film style. With old films, you could take sections of film and put them in any order that you want. But with the advent of videotape, it was on reels.
Yeah.
And the only way to edit, as you know this, but the only way to edit was to edit things in order on a long reel of videotape as you laid it down one after the other. The thing is if you mess up and you need to re-edit, you had to go back to the beginning and start over again and relay everything down. They called that linear editing. Mm-hmm. That was the way broadcast television was done ever since. I mean, I guess I Love Lucy, as soon as,
and putting B-roll. How about B-roll over that?
And then putting B-roll on, and then you could lay B-roll on top of it and all that fun stuff. But this is going back to my days at the University of Miami. This was a film I did about a Cuban rafter. Actually, it's a good friend of mine, Lenny Edelstein, who's an actor in Hollywood now. And but we had a good time doing that. Actually, one of the benefits of going to the University of Miami, to give them a plug, was the fact that they let you do your own films and direct your own films. Whereas a lot of schools, they kind of I don't know if it's still the same now, but USC, for instance, undergrads could only work on graduate films as assistants or crew people, that sort of thing. And other schools, kind of take control of the films and that sort of thing. So the University of Miami was really good about letting people, create their own films that became their own films, and you could enter them in festivals, and so.
And they probably supported you a lot, right?
Well, I don't know. I sometimes a lot of universities, especially one like Miami, they're more focused on film theory. Mm-hmm. But in terms of getting you out into the world, there's something to be said for a lot of the more trade schools that actually are more active in getting people involved in the local production. A place like Valencia or Full Sail.
Right.
Those type of schools, I think, do a better job of working with the local production community and getting people involved. University of Miami was a little bit, I'll say it, elitist, and they wanted to create the next writers, directors, producers. But, you don't come out of school just, becoming a writer, director, producer. You kind of have to
get some experience under
get experience. But I will say, actually, my first experience real experience with equipment was actually in high school. I was very lucky. We had a 3-camera studio, which wasn't common back then. It's the 1980s. And we had a 3-camera studio, and we were doing shows, and had to learn how to white balance cameras and
Wow,
how to shoot.
that's
This was this was during college. I was in Spain, and actually, I was talking about this was part of this presentation. I always loved the romance of bullfighting, and that would later lead to rodeo documentary I did back in 2021 called State of Rodeo, because I wanted, there's something about the romance of bulls that I always loved. And I wanted to, manifest that somehow. So actually, my other background besides film is in history. So I always enjoy the history of things, different industries.
I've noticed that. You always,
different backgrounds. So this film was called State of Rodeo, which highlighted the history of cattle ranching and rodeos here in the state of Florida. And actually, most people don't know, but Florida is the first cowboy state. So just to give the boring history, back in 1521, Ponce de Leon came here to settle the southwest coast of Florida, and he brought the first livestock from Cuba. And eventually that resulted in the later Spanish missions and St. Augustine forming in 1565, and they had these ranchos, which were, cattle ranches, to supply these new, colonies and communities. And so these were the first cattle and horses in North America, before Texas, before the West. So before the West was the West, the East was the best.